captures the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point on our mother station here, Focus on Liberia. As usual, we got some of the brightest minds in Liberian politics. We have with me my co-host, Michael Padmore. We have Jimmy Eastman from his bunker somewhere around the world. And we have our special guest of honor, Mr. Adwia Do. So you know it's going to be tough today. We are talking about issues on Liberia. We are talking about current events. And we are going to be laying it out barely, and we're going to have time for you to chime in. We're going to be very specific. We're going to be brief. We're going to be on point. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing? Let me start with Mr. Padmore. Mr. Padmore, thank you very much for being here. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jerome. I'm doing well. It is sunny in Minnesota. It's a good thing. People are out walking their dogs, have the kids in the stroller, and Minnesota is coming alive again. It's amazing, and it gives us renewed hope. That's a beautiful thing about spring. It gives you renewed hope. Hopefully, we can transfer that sense of renewed hope to our country on the topics that we discuss here today. But thank you so much for having me.
Great. Please don't forget to share this show. We want to be interactive. We want all your friends, as they always say, your friends may not be my friend may not be your friend. Mr. Jimmy Eastman, just before you go out of data here from your bunker, how are you doing and how is the family?
The family is good. I can tell you there is a lot that is expected of Liberians this year. It is going to be most interesting. There's so many things amiss. So I'm appreciating being here with you, gentlemen, because there's a lot amiss. So let's go at it.
Great. Mr. Adwia Do, you came from a very beautiful event yesterday, a major one. Tell me, how did it go and how are you doing, sir? And thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here once more on your program to discuss, have a conversation about issues that are relevant to the development and growth of our country, above our people here in the diaspora as well. And we had a ball last night. Last night was a ball, I must tell you. And the speakers, including me, that were on last night, they were so phenomenal. And I'm happy and with the zeal to be here on this show, probably at some time to share some of the highlights from last night. So I'm happy to be here. Let's discuss the issues relevant to our country and the diaspora.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some very tough topics here. Trending issues in Liberia. How do we develop the issues? We talk about current event. We usually scan the newspapers in Liberia and see what's trending. Paper of choice for me is usually a Daily Observer. Obviously, it is a true epic and legendary newspaper. They do a lot of research and the articles are well written and well edited. And obviously, we go to Front Page Africa for other news. But let's go with what we have here. We got 4 issues we're going to be discussing today, and they all are germane to the Liberian diaspora as it is to Liberia itself. First of all, what did the U.S. government say to President Weah while he was here? According to Rodney C., when I read what he said, did the U.S. meeting with Weah expose the United States for a double standards? On one hand, you condemn the government for being XYZ, and then on the other hand, you are coozing up to this government to the point where he sees it as Liberia, America conundrum, the duality of Liberia's issue with America. That was very key. I want us to key in on that. Number two here, it's voter trucking in Liberia. It has become a very serious problem in Liberia to the point where it has resulted into violence. What does the law say about trucking? Is it legal? Is it illegal? If it is illegal, what is the government doing about that? Then someone talked about there were buses being burned in Cape Mount, and I know in Grand Bassa County there was issue there. People trucking, people sleeping in the element, people cooking in the element. We want to delve into that. And number three, the U.S. to partner with President Weah on developing multi-purpose, multi-use railway. What does this say about President Weah's legacy? Liberia is now going to be introduced to a national railway from east to west, west to south, that will become a partnership, public-private partnership. The United States has interest in it because they know that they think it's going to boost the economy, it's going to open another channel of communication and revenue, stream of revenue for the government. So let's go to number one here. Mr. Eastman, I'm going to start with you because you are in the bunker there. The meeting of the CIA and the representatives of the government, delegation headed by the President of the United States. What do you think? Now we want to make this is a disclaimer. Now this is a top level secret meeting. So anything we say here is speculation. Nobody knows about it. The U.S. would never leak anything of this sort. So this is our own opinion. It is not the opinion of FOL or anybody. It is our own opinion. We are opining on these things. Mr. Eastman, what do you think about the meeting?
Okay. First of all, when the U.S. is trying to recruit an asset, all right, to partner for certain projects and operations, they don't show their hand. They don't expose it. This was an exposed meeting between, for all agencies, CIA and the Liberian government. That says a lot all by itself. All right. It wasn't a meeting between State Department and the Liberian government. Normally, something like this would have been headed by the State Department. The State Department has operational people that can handle these sort of things just equally like the CIA. But the State Department was not involved in this. It was a direct CIA Liberian government. And that brings to mind several things. Why is the CIA not going through the State Department? The CIA, we know, is an organization, is an intelligence organization of the branch of the U.S. government for counterintelligence, for various terrorism, drug trafficking, counterfeiting. That is what they are involved in. Okay? It's specific to crime and operations that, the State Department does not get into. So this meeting indicates that there's something not official, but more criminal about what is going on. There's a criminal element of this whole thing, or the CIA wouldn't be involved. When I say criminal, it could be a crime, but if the U.S. government wanted to have a state-sponsored operation, they would have gone through the State Department. But directly using the CIA tells us it's something of criminal nature. That is what is being discussed. And it's surprising because I have never seen any leader being summoned to the CIA or as in conference with the CIA openly as this has been.
Yeah, I mean,
So
Mr. Eastman, real quick, the word is not summit; it's an invite. That's what it was. Meant.
okay, I will accept that it's an invite.
Right.
But when has the state the CIA invited a sitting president, a leader of a sovereign nation, into a meeting,
Okay.
bypassing, and I'm going to emphasize this, bypassing the State Department? I've never seen that happen before. So
Well,
I only think there's something of criminal or some kind of operation that will require the CIA direct involvement and bypassing the CIA, the State Department. There's no diplomat. The diplomacy is one side.
great.
Okay.
Now, real quick here. Let's look at the geopolitics. What's happening around the world? What's happening in Africa? As we speak, last week Monday, the CIA and Anthony Blink, the Secretary of State, was in Niger doing something similar. In October of last year, the United States is basically building a base in Abuja, okay, over the waterfront. $2.7 billion they are putting in there. We are seeing what Russia is doing in Burkina Faso. They ran the French out. We see what they are doing in Mali. They ran the French out. We are hearing now that they are creeping closer to Ghana, and everybody is tightening their belt. This is no time for COVID operation as we are seeing it. Everybody is now marking their territory. So let's go to Mr. Doe. Mr. Doe, here we are. We talk about geopolitics. The Liberia is America's only source of spy intelligence in the whole of Africa. After the Cold War, the United States dropped the ball. They thought that Liberia was no longer important. Their interest was not in Liberia anymore. And now, all of a sudden, Liberia is on the radar of the Boko Haram. Now we're talking about the Russians. The Chinese are in Liberia, and then you see the connection between the Chinese and the Russian. All of a sudden, the United States is in a tailspin. Anthony Blinken is in Niger, they're in Nigeria, they're in Ghana, they're in Liberia. It looks like they're playing catch up. What do you see there?
They are playing catch up. They are playing catch up for the fact that it is very important that you stick and still with your ally. I must especially you know what is meant by being a friend, a good friend of yours. Liberia has been a good friend of the United States of America for years, in and out. All of a sudden, that slow tactics, that standby on the fence behavior, attitude, America begin to absorb. You said it right. You said it right. It was the same topic we discussed about last week. And my dear brother, I must tell you that all the areas, the countries that America wants her allies, definitely they are going to revisit. You know, America is so unique a country that it focuses on saving their POW. America is always in the position, in the business of playing catch up. When America was trying to save during the Cold War, when America was trying to save, get her POWs, Japan, the rest of the other countries, the China, they were moving in technology. Can you imagine? It is just quite recently that even our hospitals are now living from paper-based to electronic. It's kind of that thing that I see from my own standpoint in terms of being working in the hospital, where doctor used to transcribe the orders using that they're scratching hands and think then the lawsuits you abound in all of the courts in Liberia and in America. I see. So now that America see the smoke and they smell the rats, the rots of the rats from across Africa. China has been deepening in development initiative in Africa. Now Ukraine and Russia are now in the business of waging war. They are fighting. So America now returning to her allies. Inviting George Manawia in an open invitation. Certainly, I was sitting with some group of guys. I was telling them, I said, probably George, the CIA, when you're a member of the CIA, I don't care why you're president. The CIA can send for you. Probably that open invitation there for Georgia. Probably Georgia is one of the agents. No, we're just joking. But it is serious. There is the time now for Liberia to capitalize on what America wants. America wants for Liberia to support her interest and the interest of the war. They have to come back, and they have to come back big. That corrupt practices that we all talked about in our country from years in and out should not show face in these negotiations. So, with this kind of terroristic behavior, this kind of Boko Haram attitude that going all over Africa, I think America stand the chance now to revisit. So Georgia, the invitation to Georgia meant so well. And unfortunately, the question that the Front Page Africa raised, I think it's a genuine question, because our ambassador, the American ambassador to Liberia, McCarthy, I'm the first time seeing a diplomat be an activist diplomat. He always in an editorial. The man would say something about the government one day, the next day you will see at the executive mansion partying, dancing, with the same government. So the question the concern of Front Page Africa, I think is kind of concerning, and probably there is what the new tactics, the new strategy of America to seek the indulgence, the interest of the New Deal, I would call it, that they are trying to strike with the Republic of Liberia. But this time around, I hope and pray that Liberia and its people benefit.
Mr.
Wait, 1 minute. Let me talk. They didn't use the State Department. Okay, the State Department is the diplomatic arm of the U.S. government. This went to the clandestine CIA operation that involves in terrorism and money laundering, more criminal in nature. So why would you think that it is something the American government is doing with regards to diplomatic relations when they're not using the CIA, they're not using the State Department, they're using the CIA?
The CIA is part of the United States of America. CIA, as you read about it, they dig into those illegal follow those illegal things that happen throughout the war. But America's strategy is not something that is stagnant. They engage in direct strategic operations. And I would not sit here and assume and say, from my head, that they smell something in Liberia. We know that corruption been going on from time to time. And we know that some officials of the WIA government was sanctioned, and they were sanctioned. We know that. Corruption show its face in the early stage of the WIA government. It is part of the investigation that the CIA is not taking on with respect to how America's strategic planning is now in dealing with this war that is going on in Russia and Iran and Ukraine. then of course that's something that some always would just assume and say, oh, from top of here, or they would just overlay hold the government accountable that indeed there's a criminal government. That is why America, the CIA is invited. The CIA in fact invited the president. I will not sit here and say that. We are all speculating, and I hope and pray that our speculations with our public, our audience here will listen very carefully, so that we don't hold what we don't say, what we don't know about. And what we don't know is that the meeting that was held is tight. We know the CIA operation. We know what the CIA go after. So we'll just base our conversation around what the CIA go after. But until I can hear from the meeting, what was said in that particular meeting, I would not just sit here and say, oh, the we are government is corrupt, the we are government is getting this. America know what's going on in Liberia. They know. Every day what goes on in the country, they know. So they are doing the job.
Mr. Padmore, I'm at the CIA website, and I'm also at the FBI website here.
Be careful.
When it comes to criminality, like my friend Eastman is talking about, it falls within the purview of the FBI, money laundering, counterfeiting, all of those things. The CIA website, to make it clear, our primary objective, our mission, is very straightforward but critical. We are here to leverage the power of information intelligence to safeguard our nation. They are not in there to arrest and investigate. No, they are spy agents to collect information, what is vital to the United States existence in and outside, especially outside. And that information collected is used to form public policy as far as the United States is concerned. Now let's go to what Mr. Radney here is saying. The United States is playing duality, double standards. You are chastising these guys, you are sanctioning here and there. And then on the other hand, you are basically, what we say, when
you did with the same people.
Yeah, you are the legitimizer. Just your presence with these folks legitimizes some of the things they do or who they are. So here point here is, this is political duality, public policy duality, double standard. The United States is playing double standard. And then when you talk about the CIA, obviously, when you talk about double agent, that's who they are, Mr. Padmore.
No, let's start playing here, man. Go really playing here. Look, when the American government wanted to recruit Samuel Kayando, they invited him to a lavish, they rolled out the red carpet. He went to the White House. He sat with Ronald Reagan. And they gave him money. We'll solve your problems, chief. And they recruited him. They now call him to CIA headquarters. Oh, getting all the thing here from. Look, the CIA is an intelligence organization. If they call you there because of intelligence. They didn't call you there to recruit you. They didn't call you there because they want for you to be that darling boy. Kamala Harris is in Africa this week. The only country in West Africa that she's going to is Ghana. They have a package that she's going to deliver to them. Hundreds of millions of dollars for investment in Ghana. Then you say they're recruiting us? You'll stop that kind of thing, man. Look, let me tell you something. When we all grew up in Liberia, when a man has a daytime friend and nighttime lover, Liberia will not be nighttime lover. You're not going to keep us in the dark. Then when daylight, then you dancing with Ghana. Then when that time comes, then you say you want to dance with it. No. Look, that is not what's happening. Okay? Yes, we are all speculating. I will give that. But this does not look or resemble in any way, any fashion, a courtship. This is not a courtship to bring on. The very first thing is that Liberia has never left America. We've never divorced ourselves from America. There's no need for even courtship. We have a governor that can get in and tell you, say the whole government corrupt. That can get in and tell you, say, I'm surprised with the opposition or the diaspora. He does what he wants to do. America has, even in the heat of our war, 1990, when they were fighting, all embassies left. You know who stayed? America. Okay? This is not what is happening. We may not know everything that is happening, but I will put my left foot down. This is not what is happening. What happened in Langley is not a courtship. It is not a courtship. Somebody got called to the principal's office.
Well, Mr. Padmore, a few weeks ago, you and I were here, and you said they were going to arrest President Weah, and President Weah said, well, it ain't going to arrest me by myself. I'm taking everybody, Mr. Tua. If they arrest me, they're going to arrest you too. So we know it was comical in nature. When you're talking about investment in Ghana, you just heard from the preamble here, where the United States have said they are now going to invest. They agree with President Weah. They are going to invest, and we're coming to that, into the railway of the country. But Mr. Doe, before we move on to the next topic here, when you see Liberia, I know Mr. Padmore talked about Doe, that was 42 years ago. Things have changed. The world is different. We didn't have internet, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Twitter, the whole world has changed. So Mr. Padmore is dwelling in the past. I'm talking about he's so archaic, way in the past. And the CIA is an agency that talks about the interests of the United States. You see, the entire United States government is all over the place. Like you said, Mr. Doe, they are actually trying to catch up. Seriously, when our friends, Liberia was responsible for the freedom of South Africa. And South Africa have decided to side with China and Russia. Zimbabwe, all of our friends in the South and some parts of Central Africa have agreed to side with China and Russia. It says a lot about who we are and where the United States is. And this is why we're seeing the frenzy. The Blinken was in Niger on Monday. The vice president is going there. The CIA director has been there. Now we hear Biden is headed to Africa. Mr. Doe, close up on this.
But yes, a situation. We will be repeating ourselves, and we'll continue to repeat ourselves. For the fact that America is revisiting her allies. When America heavily invested in Liberia, they carry a lot of equipment, including the Omega Tower. Do you see the Omega Tower there today? Because they paid deaf ear. They were playing, when don't care. They go through USA sending $50 million a year to feed people, sending other money here, there. But now they know very well that in order to compete, you have to have the necessary equipment. All of the things that have to do with the protection of America's interest. America knows that Liberia is not a small country, despite the fact that we are still poor. But we are strategically positioned where America can pass through us and use us to defend their interest. They did that, and they succeeded. All right? So the question here is that we already provided some answers, that whether America is playing catch up, whether America is double dealing. We say yes, America has been double dealing for a long time. When Ricky sent for Samuel Doe, I know the CIA director was in that particular room. All of the top guys were in that particular room there to see Sergeant Doe at the time. and they gave Sajido instructions. And those instructions, Sajido followed some, and when he was just doing things by the wayside, his own interest was involved, not going through the instructions that they gave him. You see what happened? Since George Weah came to power, George Weah never met the president of the United States face to face. Never, ever. We have war in Ukraine. And there are a lot of information going on that Hezbollah, the Boko Haram, Russia is infiltrating, China now supporting Russia, and so other countries are supporting. America was and Liberia was in the vanguard of South African struggle through the support of America as well. You understand? So if we see America coming back to us and getting invitation from the CIA, open invitation, the strategy change. The CIA will not be operating from the time they were established from time to time, the same strategy. Probably it's the New Deal now they are involved in. Kamala is now going to countries, opening, donating money, giving money to Ghana. Okay? Another American agent is in Niger. Because they say for our president now, corruption, we now looking at corruption in Liberia. Of course, corruption is they show face in Liberia big time. That one is that a fact. That's a fact. From time to time, even Greenfield stated that the corrupt practices that in the country is so abound to the extent that something has to be done about it. Russia money could easily be slipped in to Liberia. So America now smell it. And they said, no, we cannot just sit. Omega Tower got all our infrastructure we put down there. Only the embassy is there now. We got to find where so that we can start moving from one end to another. That's what America is all about. Strategically, they are putting itself. It's big position.
Great. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Eastman, real quick, the next topic here is voter trucking. Hopefully in your bunker, you are hearing noise, you are feeling your antenna, you know what's going on. Number 2 on this list is voter trucking a threat to our democracy. And if so, it's illegal. If it's illegal, what are we doing about it? Voter trucking. I think Mr. Padmore talked about it. The violence associated with this, like I told you in Bassa last week, Bassa was engulfed with trucking. Mr. Eastman.
It's illegal. It should not be allowed. And what I were expecting that the NEC would have come up with a statement. And when we have institutions that are responsible to conduct certain operations and they make no comment at all, they allow things to get out of hand. Voter trucking, bringing people from another district or for whatever reason to vote is illegal. But why has the NEC been silent on this topic? They are the principal entity responsible for this. We saw when Snow and Tyler were competing in Bummy, there were accusations of trucking in people. And it came to a point that it got national attention. And it was spoken at that time that this is illegal. So now we're seeing it happen again. Why is it going on? Why do people not vote in the district where they live? I can understand if you're from a different county, but you're supposed to vote for where you live, not from where you were born, not from the county you hail. You vote for where because you affect the locals in that community. So why, if you live in Monrovia, you go and be voting for a representative in Nima? It is illegal. It is wrong. But the surprising thing about this whole thing, the NEC has not made any comment on this, and that is a problem in itself. Michael, Jerome, I can tell you, until our institutions take on the responsibility that they were constitutionally established for, we're not going to have a democracy. We're not going to have a democracy that will allow things to go on that is against the Constitution without comment. Now, if they had put a position in place, and then the enforcement by the Justice Department or those entities are responsible, and if they don't enforce it, that's a different matter. But the NEC has said nothing in allowing these things to go on. In other words, they are failing to do their duty. And this lies flat on the NEC.
I think at some point we have to I'll talk to Dennis here, we need to get some constitutional lawyers here to come and see how this thing works. Mr. Padmore, in Bassa this week, there were people cooking in the open. There were mattresses, I heard, in the open. People are sleeping in the element. They said there were one woman who were cooking. She said she was cooking for 50 people. And they asked her why. She said, oh, my relatives came to visit and they would be here. All of a sudden, you've been here, we've been knowing all your life. All of a sudden, you got 50 relatives coming to you and they don't have a place to sleep. Someone is sleeping on a tree. They got mattresses, sponges. And then when they went to talk to some of the guys, the other guy said, yes, I came from Monrovia. I was born right in the district. What affects this district affects me. So I came back to register here to vote because this is where I was born. Do we have the constitutional right to tell someone, well, listen, you were born and raised here. You say you went to work in Monrovia. You rather vote here. Well, you can't vote here now because you live in Monrovia. Can we constitutionally tell someone you cannot go from this district to that district?
No, man.
You are muted.
Is there a way we could put that that part of the election law up?
Yeah, I think Dennis had it up.
Yeah.
Dennis, can you put that back up, please? Yeah, we have it. But anyway, go ahead and speak to it.
Okay. So basically, we have laws. The reason why we have laws is so that we have something to guide our actions, our processes, you know. And the election law is very clear. You register and vote where you ordinarily reside, not where you were born, not where you grew up, not where you came from, not where your interest lies, where you ordinarily reside. It's very clear. You live in Monrovia. You're working in Monrovia. Okay? But when it's time for election, then you go way back to the village where you grew up at to go register and vote there. You are cheating those people of their vote. You are robbing them of their vote because you are going to decide for them who is going to represent them in the House, who is going to seek their interests, who's going to speak for them. Why are you living in Monrovia? You know, how does that make any sense? And that is just the people who claim to have the legal part of it in their favor. It is wrong. The election law is very clear. If you live in Pinsville, you register to vote and you vote in Pinsville. You vote for your representative in Pinsville. So when that representative does not do well, guess who is affected? You. You are affected. So the next time when election comes around, you say, hey, I'm not voting for that man again. We here, look at the roads, look at the schools, look at the clinic, look at the hospitals. You know, this representative has done nothing. We just see him passing in his big car every day, going in his big fence. And you make the changes. That is the whole idea. But when you sit down in Montreal, then when it's time to vote, then you go Bassa, you go register there. Then you vote, then you come and you can sit down in Montreal. Then Bassa, no light, no running water. The representative don't even go back to the district. Once you get elected, he is moved to Montreal. How do we change Liberia? How do we change where we are from? How do we change? Because it has to go from district to district. That's how the change comes. Now let's talk about the people that are just already illegal. Okay? Trucking. Trucking is voter fraud. People need to be arrested if you have been victimized, or if you have been ill-informed, or if you have been manipulated. You still need to be arrested. You need to be fined, and you need to be given a heavy warning. If you're arrested a second time, you spend 90 days in jail. You know, if you're arrested a third time, now we're talking about whether we'll take your right to vote away. That's voter fraud. But when we don't exercise, when we don't implement our laws, we don't prosecute people, we just sit down, we complain, you know, then what do you think people will do? If the government, if NEC, if the police, if the justice ministry crack down right now on any district and say we'll set example in Bassa district number 2, and they go there and do that thing, you will see all across the country, all the things will cool down. But it never happens. I do not know of one person that has been arrested, prosecuted for this. So everybody's just doing it in the open now. You can't even find bus to rent. If you get a football team right now in Liberia and you want to go play a game, you can't find bus to rent. Yeah. Because the people that rent all the buses to go carry the people around. You know? And we need to stop. We definitely need to stop.
Mr. Doe, I think Mr. Padman and I do not agree on many things. But this one, it is so egregious that I think we all have to agree on it. But then on the other hand, I don't know the constitutional law, because in the United States here, and I'm going to say this, we, the Republicans, when we don't like a candidate, we go and change our voter, we change our party, right? If we want a Padmo against Eastman, we know he's the weakest candidate, we will change and vote Democrat. We'll vote for the wrong guy to come against our strongest guy. So we do that. We go and do that. We change our party voting identity during the voter registration period. And then after the vote, we change right back to being Republican. I think the Democrats do the same thing. You want that perfect match, the bad match. You want the stronger guy to be out. So you vote again and you vote for the weakest guy and he wins. And then you have an easy way in. That's what they do. They did it to Jeb Bush here. Jeb Bush was a very strong governor. So the Democrats and everybody got together and they voted him out and they thought they were going to beat Trump. And know what happened. But can you constitutionally say, well, Mr. Doe, you cannot today vote for Democrat tomorrow, or you cannot vote for this district? Do we have the constitutional right to say, this guy say, I only went to work, but I'm coming back to vote? Can you say, no, you can't?
We are, and I told you we're talking here now. You put forth now.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about voter. We're talking about trucking.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about somebody's constitutional right to leave from one place to another. I think the question about trucking, for me, I think it is illegal. If there is law on the books that's supposed to address that, that should be done adequately. And as Padma said, people who engage in that should be punished. In the first place, I don't know where those voters are from. And those who want to be in the national legislature, they know where those voters are from. So when there are laws to undo voter tracking, those people who recruit, who put those people on buses should be held responsible in the first place. Constitutionally, you have the right, every Liberian has the right to vote. Well, by way of the elections law, it says where you reside, there where you cast your vote. If you decide to change your residence, I think there is law, or there are laws on the book too that tell you when you should do that and how you should do it. But if you don't do that, and then you allow the prospective representative to track you just because he wants your vote, then of course it is not the right thing to do. Here in the U.S., you change your residence and you can go and vote in different area, but there is a process that you can go through. I know. So our laws on the book, we have good laws on the books, but the implementers are so weak to the extent that those who are supposed to implement those things, they play weakness on them and they don't do the right thing. But nobody should stop a citizen to choose where he or she wants to go and vote. Nobody, whosoever. That's the right. But because the National Elections Commission has rules, and those rules and regulations have to be followed. So we should not be talking about voter tracking here, just for public consumption. These are things that we want to let the public know. And voter tracking too, it been happening from time to time, even in our churches. When a pastor or the bishop want to vote for the member, they will go as far as those that never voted before. They will track them to that venue. They will track them to that venue, that site where the election is going to be held. They will track them there. EULA has the same tracking mentality as well. For instance, if we go to Ohio, and I'm from the Washington D.C. area, and I will encourage some of my members in the area, those that are never voted before, I will tell them ahead of time, there's a process you have to do. Carry on. Say it will be your first time to vote. And, you know, we take your votes, you go through the process, and then if you don't have transportation to go to the site, we pay your way. The Liberian people say pay your way to go there. But this time in general elections, and most especially in Liberia, where this voter tracking has become the daily activities of electoral means, I think it should be stopped. And it is not something that we're supposed to be doing. And if this continues, it will really jeopardize our electoral process and will change the decisions for those who are residents of their districts. It will change the decision. And, you know, so now you go and register, you get your car. Who do you get a car to? It's the same man who put you in that truck there will be notified your voter registration card until election day. Can you imagine how I heard? They will keep your registration card until election day. What I want for? Those things supposed to be stopped. The laws are on the board for those illegal activities, but the implementers are weak. And we will continue to say this over and over so that somebody can be caught, nipped in the bud, so that we can put this thing to rest. If we can't put it to rest, we can minimize it for some people to get some senses from that.
Okay, let me.
But wait now, we are do, and Michael Pablo, we are do. I don't want to. I gotta interject here.
I'm coming. No, let me do this. I know. Hold on to your tongue. There's Michael Padmo. Let me throw the monkey wrench in here. Eastman, hold that up. The thing here is, I have tons of friends that are living in the United States, they're in Liberia now, they're going to register to vote.
Would I call them? Would I call them?
Listen, we got tons of ANC people, opposition people going. We got tons of citizens going home to vote, register to vote. They don't live in Liberia. They live here. We're going home to vote. I'm going home next week too, next month to register. Does that law apply to me, Mr. Eastman? Take on that. Does that apply to that guy? I don't live there.
Wait a minute now. It's different.
What make it different now?
And I will tell you why. You're talking about people who resident in the U.S. or resident in the diaspora.
Right.
Okay? They're not resident in anywhere in Liberia.
Right.
Okay? And they're coming to register, and they have a right to choose where they want to register. But if you live in Liberia and you are resident in Bassa or you resident in Riversdale and you want to go affect the election in Kepamis, that is just wrong. But the question I have for Weado and Michael, the institution that is responsible for elections is the NEC. Why have we never heard the NEC make a comment on voter tracking and all of this? Why do we have ineffective institutions? There's no need of having laws if we are seeing, if the people to implement it do not implement it. Why do we have these ineffective institutions? And this is cross country. This can be applied to several different organizations and industries in the country. Why are they so ineffective? What is the reason? And why the legislature is not holding the NEC accountable? Why have they not made the NEC do the job?
Isma, that question that you're posing to me, I don't know. I can't give you the answer, Joe. But what I can tell you is that everybody that all the representatives, I think some of them, if not all of them, they will be contesting the representative. You don't expect them to, with the kind of thing that is going on in the country now, you don't expect them to put a screw on that. Those are things that they love to do. So we're not even called the election commission. Call the election commission for election commission and hold the election commission feet to the fire. They will not do that. The elections, so they know each other. They know who voted truck.
Yeah, but Mr. Doe, I want you to chime in quick so Mr. Pablo can close her out. Those of us that live here, that reside here, that are going home to change the result, to change the outcome. Aren't we as guilty as the guy from District Number 10 going to Bassa?
No. I mean, to change the result, I would say there's no difference, because for the fact that if somebody wants to leave from here to and February about $15,000 transportation right there for airfare, and you pay some money man who supported a presidential candidate, you pay 10% where you don't have to get about 50% or whatsoever. Even 10% there, you give them you buy the airfare. You are trucking. We consider that voter trucking as well.
You are planning.
I know we consider that as trucking, that air trucking. Because you're not responsible to pay your airfare. I will pay your airfare for you to go and just vote. You get a group of guys who put money together and say, "Look, you do this so that we can have a charter flight." Air trucking. You have to go and register to vote and come back. Then election time, you go and vote. So these are all tactics to damage our process. And these are all tactics to damage our process. That is why we are fighting hard to make sure that we do this out of country voting for it to be at ease for diaspora Liberians. And you see, so to answer your question, Mr. Gamer, I would say it is the same. You live all your life in America, and you're going back home because you have property in Liberia as well. You get your address in Liberia, and you want to vote. You leave from here and go there. to pay your airfare individually. You want to go and vote? I mean, you can, but if some presidential candidate will be, even you will pay part of your transportation, that presidential candidate is air trucking.
Mr. Padmore, take us home on this one.
Well, there's a couple of things here that you guys are not taking into you're not taking into regards. Okay, the first thing is that you don't just fly from America, go Liberia, go vote. Okay, you have to when you flying to Liberia to go and vote, you're not living in a street. Most people, the very first thing that most people who are doing those things, they have residences in Liberia. They have just to stay when they go to Liberia. They have homes. Some of them have homes in Liberia. So if I have a home in Liberia, where do you think I'm going to register to vote? In a district where I have my home. Where I ordinarily reside when I'm in Liberia is where I'm going to register to vote. That's where I'm going to register to vote. That's where they say ordinarily reside. If your girlfriend live in Ghana and you get on a horse in Cinco, but you spend majority of the time to your girlfriend her, you have to decide where do you ordinarily reside. Okay? That is totally different from trucking. Trucking is the intentional taking away people from one district where they ordinarily reside and take them to another district, okay, to affect the legislative change there, to elect some sort of representative. That's different than you say, look, on election day, we know very well, my Mary, it's difficult for you. You owe now. It's difficult for you to get on pimping to drive all the way to the voting precinct. So happy. We'll provide you a ride to take you to the precinct and bring you back. We'll do that. They do that in America every year, every election cycle. They get people to the polls. It's up to my Mary when she get in that poll, but what she does. But it is not the same. But you brought up, and very quickly here, you brought up a very important point, an even more important point. This is why our election laws need to be revisited, because now we have dual citizenship. And with that dual citizenship, Liberians who do not reside in Liberia want to vote. So the election laws need to be revisited. How you are going to accommodate that? Do they only vote for the presidency and they are not allowed to partake in local elections? Do they, if they can prove that they do have homes in certain district, do you allow them to vote in that district? All those things need to be revisited, but like Ismail said, NEC is mute. Preso, mute. Everybody mute. They're waiting for this thing to explode, and everybody will turn to America and say, America, what you say? I will handle the thing here. It's embarrassing, it's sad, and we really need to take control.
Mr. Ismail, Mr. Padmore, just before you go, we kind of doing this now. We're going to talk about trucking. Okay, District 10 in Monterey County has become the battleground.
Yeah.
We are hearing the Dillon people say, everybody that voted for Dillon, go and register in what's his name? District number 10. Make sure that we hold the court. We don't lose that seat. Every CDCN go to District 10, register, and get Josephine Davis there and get rid of what's his name? Yeka Koluba. So people they're not trucking, they're just walking like they were doing. so there's an Ismail. But
let me, Jerome. Let me tell you something, Jerome.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if we're ready yet, because really, anybody can go anywhere and go get registered. That's how it is. I'm not lying to you. You can go anywhere you want and get registered. That's how it is. Okay? It doesn't matter where you're from, your tribe, your wattle. You can go anywhere you go, and there's no cross-reference to authenticate where you are actually are. That's the reality on the ground. Okay? So this trucking that you're doing to register, it doesn't really matter now. But when they are casting their votes in October, that's when we'll see the effect. But right now, there is no regulation of where, not at all, where you can register. Some places have long lines. So man, Padma will go to register to Courchevel. You got no lines there. He know his people down there. They will allow him to register. You and myself can go register to Bassa, or me, I can go to River. Says no line there. You see, but until we get serious about this thing and to implement like how we are to say, until we start implementing the laws that are on the book, we just child's play. You know, it's just child's play.
Mr. Padmore, I heard you called about district number 10 have supposed to have around 20, 30,000 people. They say from what they are seeing here, district number 10 may be the largest district in the country. It will have about 55,000 people after this. Everybody going there to say, you know what, you're not taking my man from here. And other people say, no, just as the video will bring her in. So everybody deserting their district. They don't care whether what the man need, Gray loses or Sebo loses. They don't care. They want it's a standstill in district number 10. So you look at the whole Monroe will be residing in district number 10. I saw the people yesterday going to district number 10. I mean, I'm talking about maybe I'm exaggerating, about 2,000-3,000 people. They said they were seditious going down. Then coming from the side, the opposite direction, almost equal people coming to district number 10. And I'm saying to myself, geez. So there has to be a better way to do that. I don't know how to do it. I will be lying to you, Mr. Padmo, before we close on it. If you have an idea how we can curtail this thing to make sure that it doesn't result into violence, because they lie alone to register in District 10 now, they say you got to be, some guy said he was there from, 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening. He was there all the time. That's 8 hours.
They just sleep there. They just sleep there. Go 3 o'clock in the morning. They're there online.
How, Mr. Black
Friday?
Eh?
I did a Black Friday and they sleep there too.
the Black whole month, because I mean, people who really want to register may not even get a chance. At 8 hours, they may not, 50,000 people will not have enough hours in a year for all these people to register. So is that a kind of voter suppression to some degree? You're all converted to the point where you're defeating purpose?
Well, here's the thing. The ramifications for that, we can't even begin. We can't begin. The first thing is, what people don't understand, you have 17 districts in Monserrato. When you leave District 5 to go District 10 to go register, then who will vote for T5 and for T5 to stay? You know?
Yeah.
So okay, you move again. But then you lose to sleep other district. Then what have you won?
Thank you. What have you won?
What have you won? People are not even thinking that far.
No.
They are so parallel on one thing. But what I will say is this. This is happening because the National Election Commission is silent. When our authorities, when our leaders are silent, then people do what they want to do. People do what in their best nature. The reason why you see CDC going there, because they say, oh, yeah, well, people say they're going there. They don't say the people will go there. So we too will go in. You know, if NSC don't stand up right now and say, no, happening. Right now, we are suspending a voter registration, in District 10. We are going to look into this matter. We'll take 2 days, and then we'll solve this matter. We'll open it back up, and don't worry, you'll have your complete days. You're supposed to have to register. Those days will be allotted to you, but we are not going to register under this climate, and we're going to do it in this order. We have a census. The census is supposed to reflect voter registration. The census is supposed to tell how many people in or on District 10 over the age of 18 and above. So if the census tells us District 10 people 18 and above are 30,000, then the voter registration comes and say 60,000 people registered. How do you conduct elections like that? How do you conduct elections like that?
We're not ready yet.
You see?
Mr. Doe.
Yeah.
How we are Doe?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Doe.
I'm listening.
Okay, I know you outside.
I got a call.
Okay, great. Now listen to this. And this goes to Mr. Padmore, Mr. Eastman. We'll close on there and go to the comment section here. The country does not have a property identification system. Okay, so if I come over here and say, "Oh, I live here, mama," there is no way that Padmore can tell me or can hold me down and say, what part of Fiamma you live, where's your house number, your address, your social security number, or your house number or your zip code or something that will hold you to that particular. So what proof do you have that you live in Fiamma? You just come and say, I live in Fiamma. And they say, okay, they may live in Fiamma. So you want to go vote in Fiamma? Where in Fiamma? Because even there were 2 districts in Fiamma. What side of Fiamma you live in that will qualify you to vote? We don't have a property identification.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy. You want to chime in?
Yes, that's the problem. That's why I say this children play. Huh? I'm telling you right here. You can just go anywhere and go register to vote. Nobody will hold you. I thought they would have been holding people for a national ID card. You know, at least you have a national ID card before you can register. No. Anybody can go register. That's what's going on the ground. And everybody is mute. Tell what, Michael, they're not even making a comment. We're not ready yet, my man. All I gotta say. We are doing. Go ahead.
In the state of Maryland, we don't ask you for your address. You show up at the police station, you call your name, they register, they allow you to vote. For the fact that you already registered from the beginning and you provided your address.
Right.
So they will not ask you, you still living to the same address here. They will not ask you that question. You go there, you call your name, you vote. All right. And they will even help you. They will help you whether you want to do provisional ballot or not. And they will even help you when you say, oh, look, I was living at this address before, but I'm living at another address. When they look in the system, there where the address visit will come in. Say, oh, but since you live to this address, will help you. Just go there, go to that address. Or else, do the provisional ballot here. That's the option they will give you. But I don't think that's the case of our electoral system. So anybody can go anywhere and cast their vote. Nobody asking anybody. With respect to their voter tracking, this is why it is going to continue, and it will continue until somebody hit the brick wall and say, no, this should not be, and let us stop it. With respect to the process, the voting process that going on in District 10 is like, let the whole Moravia from the other party go and vote in there. And as the other panelists said, what happened to the other representative district that they came from? Does that mean that, okay, we look at the election results from 2011 and notice that, for instance, 3,000 persons voted for me. So I know those 3,000 persons, okay. So 1,000 of you guys, you are concentrated on District 10.
That's right.
1,000 of you guys, you are concentrated on District 10. And if they employ that strategy and they know very well that they are comfortable in their district and they won't take Yeke from there, and Yeke too has their own strategy too. We don't know. And so it is there that we don't want confrontation in the country. and most especially the district 10 war can start from somewhere. The civil crisis started from Butua with her, and when the guys came in from that end, and anything can happen from the district 10. We have been hearing and seeing videos, footages from district 10. This time around, every important people, those agencies that are required to safeguard those voters, safeguard this district 10, should do everything possible so as to avoid any crisis in a particular district. Because the video that I watched yesterday, it was not looking good at all. And there is an early stage to registration process. And while when people go to register to vote in area, they will block traffic. That's total nonsense. I'm so sorry, Jerome. You can't be going to area to go vote, then you block traffic. Why can't you go there peacefully, do your registration voting, and get out? But you got a whole banner in your hand and march in the street like some demonstration is going on. That's not.
Battlecry. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's go to the comment here. We'll start with some of the folks here. So we can go to, I know Mr. Padmo is very good at answering these questions. Anybody can pick up on these. This is from Martin. Manna is a regular here. We Liberians we are always taking backwards. I mean, he's thinking about, that's why other countries are leaving us behind in terms of everything. The way we think is hurting our country. Seriously, sadly, our neighbors are progressing and we are. Our thoughts are always in the medieval era. If everyone will reside in the country for a year, what difference will it make? Mr. Padmore, I don't know what he's getting at here, but let's go to Emmanuel Bro. Michael Padmore, for your information, T5 isn't running in this district. Monserrato County again, he's now running in Foya District, Lofa County, this time around. Mr. Padmore, is that true?
I have no idea. I have no information to that. As far as I know,
no, it is true. It is true. Yes,
I don't know.
I think he won't be senator for Foya.
For Lofa.
For Lofa.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just what Mr. Padmore or Mr. Doe is saying here, if you are a candidate running either one of those districts, you should be sitting real pretty because all your enemies are going to district number 10. Tell them to go to 10. You go to photo number 10, and you will find out that the guy who won in district number 5 had only 900 votes because everybody else go to district number 10. It's a good strategy. Send them over there. Go to number 10. Let's get Yeke out all means or put Josephine Davis in there. For 50, can you imagine? It's over almost 60,000 people are going to district number 10. The other district may be empty.
The reality is, Jerome, we are not doing things properly. Mm-hmm. And if we refuse to do things properly, there's some things that are not done legally, as a quote, is not done at all. We are not doing things properly. And as a result, we're going to get bad results. We're not ready yet. Just what you said, this census was essential to our voting process. This census would have told us, informed us how many people we have in each district, how many ways we need to divide the territories to know how many representatives should be there. It should have, but the census process was not proper. And now we have a voting. So we see the calamity. This thing is building up to a very confusing situation. So if I go back to the other point, maybe that's why the CIA called, because this thing is building up into a bad situation. We're not doing it properly. Nothing is going on the way it should go on. And no one is held accountable. All we have to do is hold people accountable. If you're going to take this job, then you better do the job. But they got a job and they're not doing their job, and nobody's telling them they're not doing their job. Okay. So where are we going? We're not going anywhere.
Mr. Padmore, we got here Mr. Kodor. He said, Liberian, who do not reside in Liberia should live in Liberia for at least a year to be qualified to vote in any election. What do you think?
Man, people don't even have to live in Liberia that long to even run for office. Then how you will put that kind of thing on voters? No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Hope you are also taking into consideration the remittances Liberians are sending back home. Ghanaians are doing the same thing from the diaspora. Are they legally domiciled in Ghana? Why are you thinking so absolutely? Okay, because we say you gotta live in the country. He disagree with me, and that's fine. Are we all just looking for an answer here? Because if anybody told you they have the answer to these questions, we won't be here. Okay, we won't have people leaving from Monrovia going to Basel, sleeping in the open, waiting for just to vote. And somebody with 50, somebody cooking for 50 people saying they are my relative, they're here. Or send Waller onto a president. We have signed the dual citizen law. It was automatically illegal for diaspora Liberian with U.S. citizenship to vote. But now with the advent of the new law, the floodgate is open according to him, and now everybody is allowed to vote no matter what.
Sam Waller, I have a picture of President we are voting. And standing next to him is his wife, his U.S. citizen wife, also voting. What did NEC say about that? Nothing. This is the same thing we're talking. She was not a Liberian citizen. She's still not a Liberian citizen, but she votes in our elections.
Mr. Doe, chime in on this one.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, we are happy now that we're not American Liberians, but we are Liberian American.
That's right.
As declared by the State Department official last night at the dual citizenship victory celebration in Philadelphia. I mean, we've been hearing this discussion about America does not identify, accept dual citizenship, or don't do this or that. Well, the State Department official went and took the podium and make it clear about America's position and hailed President George Weah for signing into law the dual citizenship bill that is now law since July last year. And now Liberians, we that are in there and across the globe can now call themselves Liberian, and I quote, Liberian American. I think it was a moment. It was a moment for all of us, for the fact that we are in a diverse country, and the people here, they know that we supposed to be contributing to our people, and there were certain laws. Those laws were not updated from time to time. You know, they have not been revisited. Our national legislature are supposed to do that from time to time to make laws, repeal or revise some of those laws to reflect our current reality. But now we are picking them up little bit by little bit, and thank God to the Union of Liberian Association in America, ULA, and the partners in Europe, and most especially thank God to Emmanuel Emmanuel S. Wetty, who held the torch of dual citizenship until dual citizenship was achieved. It is not all sweet. It is not condensed milk. All right. We know that there are certain restrictions in the law. It is not all of us love it. But since I know I've been reading American history, there were almost more than 25 amendments that have been made with the American Constitution. So are we saying that because our country stays stagnant because we are now revisiting this law, even our Constitution, so that it can reflect current reality? But then I would say though, I think we are on the right path. That particular Constitution, that would Article 28 of the Constitution, the portion now that talking about citizenship, we're not fight so that it can reflect that once a Liberian, always a Liberian. It is between all of us. We should not say, oh, Liberia is changing, my people, my friends and brethren. Liberia is changing. Let us
Great.
do things. Let us help the national legislature. Let us go and look into those laws and just bring some things out that is not reflecting the country development. You see? So that's what we're
Great.
supposed to be doing. That's what we're supposed to be discussing, like out of country voting. People got to pay thousands of dollars from here to go there to go and vote individually. But when they are paid by a political party, the airfare by a political party, I would not differentiate that. I would not differentiate it from trucking as well. Because
Thank
you got
you.
those guys that were living in Morovia, that left from Morovia, they left their address and went to what they call the place, Buchanan and elsewhere to go and register to vote. They were trucked there. So when you are paying your airfare here in America in a group, in a block to go and vote, you are trucking as well. So let's face the fact and let's revisit our laws and let's hold people accountable to
Great.
revise our elections law. Let us abolish trucking once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a few minutes if you want to chime in. The call number is here. Focus on Liberia call number is here 605-313-6004, and the code is 7910403. To join the conversation, we got 15 minutes. Well, we got 12 minutes to go here. Mr. Padmo, we got a new term here, air trucking. So for those of us who are going home, to register to vote, Mr. Doe have label us. We are air trucking. So
No, no,
there's
no,
a
no, no. Let me be specific. No. If you transport that yourself, if you transport yourself, all right, to go to Liberia to vote, you
right.
are now air trucking. But
Okay.
when you are being transported by a political party in group,
Right.
then of course you're not different from those representatives who truck people from one city to another or from one district
So,
to another. There's no difference.
okay. So if I'm in Monrovia and I pay my way, me, my cousin, my relative, everybody pay their way. We go to Basel to vote. It's not trucking. You say it's not trucking.
I mean, the people that are the preference they have. Why they change their address? They're using
Listen,
Basel
man.
now.
No. Listen. Let be
If you get group of
consistent.
people,
Mr. Padmo, let's be
if you
consistent.
get group of,
Vote where you reside. Whether you get the money to go,
that's what the law said.
vote
That's
where
what
you
the law said.
chime in here. You have to vote where you. We got to agree on something here. You got to vote where you reside.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
Right. So don't.
This is why we want it out of country voting. This is why we want it out of country voting.
I think we have a caller, people.
We got a caller.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a caller. One person. Let's say, where you calling from, sir? Your name. If you're on the line, where you calling from and your name? Okay, let's continue with the show. This is Dr. Pachibo from Ghana University of Education, Maniba. He said, in this very tense period of geopolitics, every nation should like to showcase her allies. Why is neither Liberia nor the U.S. showcase the relationship through media outlay? For example, U.S. VP is in Ghana. Why are they doing this? They just show up. Is that who we are? They don't take us seriously. That when they are doing things with European countries, they have people. They, like I said, they have joint press conferences. They do all of these things. But when it comes to us, the Africans, they just show up at your doorstep and tell you what is it, Mr. Padmore. I think you said something. You alluded to this at some point.
Yeah, I mean, if Liberia is going to be the darling of the West and the darling of America, we need to see it. The vice president coming to West Africa and going to Ghana instead of coming to Monrovia, and then at the same time, people want to tell Liberia is the darling of the West, and we are being quoted, by the U.S. The two things don't mix. They don't mix at all. I don't see it.
Mr. Patton, with this one, I agree with you. We have to collectively, and I think Mr. Doe alluded to this. This time around, we are going to. Okay, if we are going to be equal partners, if we are doing something that you like, and we are also partners, it is incumbent upon you to treat us as equal.
Yeah.
You can't just come and show up at our door and say, I'm bringing you a package of money. I would like for that to have been done in the Rose Gardens, where the Vice President of the United States and the President of Ghana, you do this, or President, we are in the United States, we do this in public, everybody knows. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a few minutes if you want to call. The number here is 605-313-6004. The code there is 791-403 to join the conversation. But yes, I think
we got a first caller.
Okay, go ahead, caller, your name and where you calling from.
Hello, Mr. Gayman, and hello to your panelists tonight. This is Elvis from Minnesota.
Oh, Elvis, go ahead.
Yes, I want to talk about this whole. Are you getting me?
Yes.
All right. I want to comment on this whole voting thing, where I know we haven't. I don't think we've reached there yet. But people who want to leave the United States to go back to Liberia to vote, those who are the quote unquote dual citizen now, that have the dual citizenship. I'll say, like they used to say in America here, no taxation without representation. In Liberia, we should reverse it. No representation without taxation. If we want to think of ourselves like Americans and have all the same rights that American citizens do when they live abroad, where they can vote, from foreign countries to in the American election. Those people who are voting, a lot of them get taxed. They get income tax. Whether they're working abroad, they get the American government tax them. So when we bring up the idea of the Liberian government taxing dual citizens and people who are living in the United States so that they can have representation, that's not out of bounds. So for those of us, or those of you who wants to vote, while residing in the United States, you should want to pay taxes as well, so you can be represented fully and your tax money can go into good use. So when people talk about, the money what we're sending back, the remittances we're sending back, we're helping support that country. You're sending it back to the government, or you're sending it back to your family members. Want to go buy it with their bony and dry fish in the market with the money you're sending it at the government, that they're paying taxes on it.
Yeah,
I don't like to hear hypocrites who think because we live in America, we are better than the people that are in Liberia, and we are the best, Liberia has to offer because we have a little bit more
You
more
are so
money,
wrong.
and we have a little bit more education. But all in all, the last thing I would say is we're not better than them. We already have the advantage of having an American passport. If war broke out in America, in Liberia today, we can run away and come back. The people who don't have dual citizenship will be stuck there. So we have to be empathetic and think about it, and not just think about ourselves. We already at an advantage over the people in Liberia. So we shouldn't want to have all the rights that they have, plus the security of the American passport as well. That's too much advantage to us in the United States. I want to make those points.
Evans, compare us to Ghana, Sierra Leone, Nigeria. Forget America first, but compare the voting Liberia to Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and other West African countries with dual citizenship.
Well, that's the thing, Mr. John. When we speak about dual citizenship, we're looking at it from the economic point. People are saying, well, why shouldn't we have dual citizenship? We're sending our money back.
Yeah, compare us to Ghana, not America. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know about the Ghana dual citizenship.
But then please read about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're Liberian. When we try to
No, you comparing with America. I said compare us to the sub-region, not America.
Well, Mr. John, you can't tell me what
make that point. People can think about it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we got 5 minutes, guys. We have come to the end of our show here.
Let's take 2 more callers. Let's take the 2 callers.
Okay. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah. My question is, if 20,000 people are allotted to District 10, you have 50,000 people registered to vote in that district. Will there be redistricting to have that district to have 2 representatives? Or
It is because it is in the favor of the ruling party. So the trucking, no comment about it by the Election Commission. That's my question to the panelists. Thank you, and keep listening for my answer.
Great. The next caller, please. We'll take down the question and then we'll answer when they're done. Next caller, where you calling from? Your name?
He dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No.
Go ahead.
Kemu, you okay? Go ahead. You just called, right? We're talking about the next caller.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just called. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when they say the voter registration, what we are saying here, we are speculating. That's what we are hearing, that everybody's going to district number 10. The YEKES supporters and CDC supporters are merging in district 10, and they are saying that it may even surpass 50,000. That's just the estimate and opinion people are saying. The question here is, why district 10? And somebody will have to pay the price because they are coming from somewhere. And you see how, where is it, God don't like ugly? If it's out somewhere, you are coming here for one district to win and you're losing 4 other districts. So somebody at some point, nature going to play its course where people are going to say, "More, man, the last time they are getting thinking, all our men and laws that see, I ain't doing it this time." So maybe that's why it's going to take. But real quick, we got this here. The guy said trucking means voting may potentially be, somebody might be voting twice. You go vote in Buchanan, then you run back to Monrovia and vote. That's what they are saying. So what he is suggesting here is there should be a price to pay. If you left your district to go vote in another district, you should lose your privilege of voting in another district. But what he is saying is there are people that are voting twice. They are voting twice. They go to the district vote and run back into the other district and vote. So that is the work, or that's the failure of the Elections Commission. That particular one, to allow someone to vote
So
twice.
are they using different names?
But where I saw on Facebook today, I don't know whether it was Photoshop, but a guy had 2 IDs. Some Jonathan Smith guy, he had 2 IDs, one in District 9 and one in some other district. I don't know whether it was Photoshop.
My man, Jerome, I'm telling you what's going on. You can go without verification and get a voter's card. It's very dangerous. We're playing with something critical. We have seen what elections have done in the past, and this is why the census was critical, and we play with that. We are playing with vital organizations for our country's survival, and we always get a backlash when we do that, all the time, and it's serious.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have run out of time here. Chief, please, if we can just take 30 seconds to close because the next show comes on 6 o'clock at 6 o'clock. Mr. Padmo, you are muted.
I said, I believe we have a grace period here of 5 to 10 minutes from the producer. So don't rush me. Don't rush me. I will talk all the time. I won't talk. I will talk, but let me get my closing. Let me get my closing here. As usual, it's always great to be on here with you guys, and to share on the importance of our country and and the things that matter to us. So when we talk about, of course, now to October, it's going to be elections and voting. What is happening in District 10 is very concerning. The trucking of people, the silence of NEC, but most importantly, the violence. This is only registration, and we are seeing the kind of violence going on. It is not, it is concerning. It is very concerning, and something needs to be done. We can lay the blame at the feet of NEC, and say, "Oh, NEC's supposed to do this, NEC's supposed to do that." But the fact of the matter is, when the violence starts, it's not NEC issue. anymore. This is not neck issue anymore. Now it is the executive. Now it is the president who has the responsibility to keep the peace. You know, he has that responsibility. So it is important for him to, you take charge now and you arrest these things now so they don't balloon. You know, we have so many days to register. So if you go today, here and say, oh, they're both fighting, you say, I'll come back tomorrow. That is not the same thing with elections. Elections are one day. When they both start fighting and you go, guess what? You don't get to vote. You don't, then you are disenfranchised. Okay, and we have, so how do we solve that? We solve that by starting now. Elvis mentioned something here, you know, concerning diaspora Liberians. Most of us pay taxes. Even when you transfer money to Liberia, you pay a fee. You pay a fee. You have property in Liberia, you pay property tax. So, you know, there are different things that we are paying towards. So you can't say, oh, because you're paying income tax, you know, then you're not paying tax. No, that's not true. We all have a stake. We all have a stake in Liberia. You know, we didn't leave voluntarily. Okay, we were pushed out. And so you can't take everything from us now. Okay. Finally, the Liberian Lone Star made tremendous comeback in South Africa. It is a bright light, even though we didn't win, but it was a time of pride. There were so many people who fight every day. I saw them celebrating together. It reminded me of what, you know, sports and other things can bring, you know, bring up in us. And I'm hoping that this government catches on to that and takes steps to get things like that going. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Mr. Eastman, real quick.
Very quick. Listen, it's no secret or rocket science how nations build themselves up. It starts from rudimentary regulations and laws that you follow. If we do not follow the rudimentary laws that we have created, the processes that we have put in place, if we do not follow them, then we can't expect to develop, to grow. And that is where I see the fundamental problem is, that we are not following basic laws, principles, so that we can develop. This elections thing that was going, it's being overlooked. The census, the process, all these things are being overlooked. It's as if the essence of these things is not being realized, and it will have consequences. You have to promote your laws, you have to promote your organizations, you have to promote the things you believe in. That's how countries become great. And we in the diaspora, even though Elvis said what he wants, but he doesn't realize that the diasporan Liberians have an enormous role to play in the development of Liberia. And it is really squarely on our shoulders that we help develop our country, because we are in the best position to do it. People in Liberia do not have the economic means, they do not have the awareness and the knowledge. So it's on us to benefit, to help ourselves, to help our country regain its proper place as a leader in Africa. So yes, it's our responsibility, and we have to do it.
Thank you very much. Atodor, 1 minute, please.
It is our responsibility, and we have to do it. It is our responsibility. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaiman, Eastman, Pablo. I think we had a very nice conversation today, swinging from all sides. I hailed the call from the United States to call the president of Liberia for a tete-a-tete, even though we don't know what was discussed. but we know that better will come from there. And we hope and pray that whatsoever going to come from the discussion, Liberia and Liberians are going to benefit. There should not be no voter trucking. No trucking should be done. Nobody should do illegal things in Liberia when it comes to the elections. It is unacceptable. We all should condemn it, and we hold the relevant agencies responsible, feet to the fire, to correct the situation. We pray that it's going to be done. The elections this year are going to be done peacefully, and let's make sure that we eliminate what is called voter trucking or air trucking anywhere. Now we come to the district 10. If you think that you want to pull somebody, you want to vote somebody out, do it legally. But the more you do bad to people, that the more that person range. You ever heard that the the hero died in the show before? That really bad man can die in the show. Well, Yaka Koloba, I don't know what he depends on in that district, but the people continue to like him, and they overwhelmingly love him. And whatsoever strategy people are using to take him from there, I hope they're doing it in the best interest of the country, not just to get rid of Yeke Koloba. Otherwise, let us hail and let us praise and let us continue to discuss amongst ourselves in the diaspora, because we are all Liberian Americans. We are all Liberian American. The State Department official said last night. So let's capitalize on that, and so that we can push for out of country voting, and we can push for really a very, very strong economic development into our country. That's what we have the dual citizenship for. Let us discuss among ourselves. Thank you so much, and I thank FOL continuously for the efforts in disseminating, educating all things Liberia.
Thank you. If we could see that flyer once more for the next show that are coming up. For people who are into religious dialectics, you need to, there you go. This guy, Dr. Freeman, when you're talking about religion, we are talking today about religion. We're talking about God. We're talking about where is God in all of this. This young man has a detailed knowledge of education outside of what we've been hearing in the churches. So stay tuned and be well educated, and Mr. Jai is going to be the host of that. You are in for a treat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it all. We are all Liberians. Yaka Koloba does not belong in our seat, but if you're going to take him out legally. Do not mess with him. Do it the right way. Get him out. And don't get him out at the expense of losing 3 other seats. We pray that our election be fair, be free and transparent, and that Liberian prosper. I want to say thanks to Mr. Jai for pulling up with us. Thank you very much. As always, we end our show. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberians.
Thank you.